Welcome to Worldwide Hustlers, everybody. My name is Matthew Auber. In today's video, we're going to be discussing 6 real estate terms that everybody needs to know if you're going to be starting in real estate. So by the time this video is over, you will know what these 6 terms are, and it will definitely help you. So without further delay, roll the footage. Okay, welcome back, and thank you for joining me. And if you have not yet, if you would like to learn more on how to be successful in life, please consider subscribing to my channel, and I would appreciate it. And smash the like button before we get started. So the first term we're going to cover today is net operating income. So a lot of people, when they start wanting to get into real estate, they see this term, but they have no clue what it means. And it's not a hard term to understand. All it is they call it the NOI. So you take your rental income, and in this case we're going to say we're at $200,000 for rental income, and then you take what your expenses are, which would be more or less electric, taxes, insurance, maintenance, vacancy rates, all of that stuff. This is going to be your expenses. You take your rental income, you take away your expenses, and you come up with your net operating income. Okay, now there's something that you do need to understand. Mortgages are not part of your expenses. Mortgages are considered a financial expense, and they are not an operational expense, okay, as in what we talked about a while ago. So your net operating income, let's say, is $100,000. Now if you were to have paid cash for this property, honestly, your net operating income can now be called your return on investment, because at this point this is your money. But if you have a mortgage and you still have a debt to pay, then that's going to come out of your net operating income. The next term we're going to cover is your cash on cash return. This is also called your COC, cash on cash return. Very important term. To me, this sits at the heart of the real estate deal. It's one of the main ingredients, whether you're going to purchase that property or not. And all cash on cash return is let's say you have your yearly cash flow, and let's say the property cash flows for, let's say, $1,000 a month. So you're looking at about $12,000 a year. This is for the year, $12,000. Okay, and then what was your total investment? So at the closing, you have to come up with a down payment. You have to pay your closing cost. You have rehabilitation, rehab fees if you're doing a fixer-upper. Let's just say you are not. So, but whatever you have to come to the closing with. And let's say for this property, this was a similar investment that I just did. So let's say that you had to come up with $60,000 at closing. And again, this is your down payment, closing costs, and everything. So you take your yearly cash flow, right? $12,000. You take your total investment right here, and that comes up with 17.66%. Now this, basically your cash on cash return, this is what you're being paid for your money. This is another way of looking at it, this is your return. Not bad. I mean, think about it like this. The stock market probably produces about, what, 6 to 8%. In the entire time the stock market's been around, it's probably made about 6 to 8% on average. Not bad, Martha, but that's about what you're looking at. But look at this guy, 17.66. I will caution you and say that if you are going to invest, make sure that your cash on cash return at a minimum, 10%, okay? You're looking for a 10% or greater return for your cash on cash. And that is term number 2. Okay, we're back again, and this is number 3 on the list. And this is your cap rate. So your capitalization rate. You don't see people talking about this a lot, I think, because some people just don't understand what it is. If you go back to our first term, we talked about the NOI. The NOI, we're going to say from the last one, if you remember, was $100,000, right? Now, what is the value of the property? So in this case, we had our rental income, we took away the expenses, and our net operating income was 100K. There we have it. The value of the property on this one, let's say it's $1 million property. We have $1 million property with an NOI of 100,000. You take your NOI, you divide it by the value of the property, and this comes up with 10%. So you are looking at a 10% cap rate, your capitalization rate. If you paid all cash for this property, this could, in essence, your cap rate could be your ROI again. You could say that if you paid all cash. Okay, but this is just another way of looking at how you would if the property is worth buying. So your capitalization rate. So I will say that a lot of times you'll see the cap rate in some areas. Seems like the higher the cap rate, it might be in a kind of not too good of a neighborhood maybe, and then your lower cap rates are going to be more in your better neighborhoods. And the reason being is because they know that this property here is nicer and it's going to stay rented longer, and you're going to get good rents for that property. So, but a cap rate, I would say between this one is saying 10%, and I mean, would I buy it? Well, there's other variables involved too. I mean, what kind of an area is it in? You know, what kind of school systems are around there? I mean, is this a good place for commuting? Can people live there without having a car? Maybe they can walk. There's a lot of work going on around there. So it would depend. 10%, I probably would. I would say anywhere from 6% up to probably around 10. 10, 12 maybe at the tops, somewhere in there. This is what you're looking for your cap rate. This is your capitalization rate, term number 3. Okay, the next thing we're going to cover, number 4, we're going to talk about property classifications. So it's very important that you understand where you're buying your property. It's okay if you want to buy out of state, but you still need to know what the area is like, especially when it comes to schools and buying jobs and things like that. Now with this here, Class A, this is going to be, this classification here is really nice. This would be the newest part of town. This would be the really, really nice eateries, nice restaurants. Everything is pretty much new. For the most of the time, I would say 10 years or less makes up a classification A. So honestly, this is really more for institutionalized buyers. These are for the big guys. So this one here, you're not going to make a profit. You're probably, if anything, this could be used for a tax deduction if you just want to buy something that's really nice. It's going to stay rented, but you're not going to make a cash flow. Okay. The next one up is B. We have a classification B. These, I would say, are anywhere from 15 years and older. Middle class type people, I would say paycheck to paycheck, blue collar type workers are living there. This one here, this is the most stable. This is where you want to find yourself, a B area. Okay, they're going to stay rented. The people make pretty good money, and you're going to be good. It's safe. It's not that risky. Okay. The next one is a Class C. Okay, now classification C, I personally would probably stay out of there. I have had properties or a property one time in a Class C area. It wasn't like, it was okay. I mean, I made good money. But these here, you're looking at about 30 years and older, low income tenants. Normally these properties have problems with maybe the electrical systems, the plumbing is going bad, the concrete is all cracked up maybe out front, the roof is missing shingles. I mean, because these properties are over 30 years old, so they're in need of some kind of cosmetic or maybe even some major overhaul. So, and that's another thing, that's another reason why you might want to stay away from these properties. But it's just up to you. You have to do your due diligence, and you're going to do an inspection. So, and then the last classification is a classification D. And right now, I would never want somebody to try to buy a property in a Class D. This is a war zone. The police don't even go there. They don't even want to. They do exist, so they're out there. And there are landlords that buy properties in these areas, and they do fairly well. So it's just up to you, though, how much of a risk do you want to take, not only with your money but with your life, let's say. I mean, these are bad areas right here. Now I will say what you would want to do is you want to find a B property that's in an A area. That would be ideal, because if you can find a B property that has these credentials, but it's in an A area, that's where you're looking. That's what you want to find. And or how about this? Find a C property in a B area. So either one of these is a good deal, because what you're doing is that you're finding a property that's basically cheaper, but it's in a really, really good area. And this is exactly what you would be looking for. So, but anyway, these are the property classifications. So we're going to go on to the next term. Okay, so the next term we're going to cover is price per unit, PPU. What is price per unit and why is it important? Okay, if you understand real estate, you'll know that a unit, if you buy a single family home, or you buy a duplex, or you buy a threeplex, or you buy a fourplex, from fourplex on down, banks look at that as residential property. So you think, well, a single family home is residential, and this is true, but so is a duplex, a triplex, and a fourplex. They are considered just residential, and you can get conventional financing on those. You can get an FHA loan. I bought my first building, it was a fourplex with my VA loan. So VA, you can go FHA, conventional. Now, when you go above a 4 unit, now you're talking commercial. Once you hit 5 units or greater, now we're talking commercial. So, and I have a feeling that you are going to want to one day venture off into commercial property. And it doesn't have to be just apartments. You can buy warehouses, you can buy storage units, you can buy office buildings. So this is more or less catered to, let's say, commercial property. But I felt like throwing this in because I have a feeling that you are eager to make a lot of money, and this is going to help you. So bottom line, let's say price per unit, you buy a 10 unit. You have a 10 unit apartment building, and that would be a nice buy, because the same amount of energy that goes into buying a single family home is about what it takes to buy a 10 unit. Except this one, you got 10 units. You have 10 units, and let's say that the cost is $1 million. So obviously, if you divide this out, you're looking at $100,000 per unit. So now we know price per unit. But why is this important? What does it matter? Why can't you just, hey, I'm going to buy a 10 unit, I'm going to, go ahead and buy. The reason why is because you need to be looking around in the same area at the same type of building to see if you're getting a good deal. If you see and you can't compare it to a 100 unit or a 50 unit, it has to be the same. If you see other 10 unit apartment buildings going for like $800,000 or $600,000, then maybe yours is overpriced. But then again, maybe it's just a newer 10 unit. So there's other things that you have to look at. But then also it helps you figure out if what you're paying for is going to support itself for cash flow when you have to rent this thing out. Because if you know that in that area, let's say these are all 2-bedroom, 1-bath, and most of the 2-bedroom, 1-baths are renting for, let's say $700 or $800, or maybe $500 or $600, but you're going to need about $700 or $800 to help you, because of your mortgage, because you're getting you have a bigger loan, let's say, then you need to know those numbers. So, but anyway, price per unit, and you can also go price per square footage. So let's say that you have a $500,000, let's erase this. So this would be for more of like an office building. So if you had a 500,000, 500K, it had about 10,000 square feet office space. So if you divide your 500,000 price tag by the 10,000 square feet, you're going to come up with about $50 per square foot. So, and again, you can use this. Why is this important? You can use this when you're buying a commercial piece of property, because you can compare that with other comparables to see if you're getting a good deal. So anyway, number 5, price per unit. Here is number 6. I put these in there because these are, if you're going to get into real estate, you're eventually going to go to a bank eventually, unless you're doing creative financing. And if you go to the bank, you're going to have to go get some paperwork done and fill out your paperwork to see where you stand. Now, you have a pre-qual and then you have a pre-approval. So, are these the same? Is there any difference in these pre-qual, pre-approval? They're the same, right? And obviously they're not. Pre-qual. Basically, all you're doing here with the pre-qual, you're just doing a very, I would say, a general qualification. You're doing a general qualification. All they're doing is seeing kind of where, they're taking your word for it. You're going in there and you're saying, yeah, I make this much money, I have this much debt, and that's it. There's nothing else wrong. So they're not pulling credit scores or anything at this time. So they just do a pre-qual. But it does give you a pretty good warm fuzzy feeling, once you talk to the lender and they say, oh, okay, based on your pre-qual, you're looking good. Okay, now here comes the heavy hitters. Now we have to do a pre-approval. So your pre-approval, now we're talking about FICO, right? Now we got to find out what your credit score is, and then from here, when they pull your FICO score, it's going to have everything on there. It'll have how much debt you have, what your income is, and everything. So this is the one that you're going to ultimately have to get your pre-approval when you want to get approved for a loan, and that's why it's called pre-approval. And like I said, I decided to add these guys in there because I think it's important for you to know. So, but anyway, these are the 6 real estate terms that you need to know. Understand these terms. If you don't understand these, either rewind the video or you can go and look these up and do some more studying on them. But they're important to know if you want to get started in real estate. So I hope this has benefited you in some way, shape, or form. And if you have not yet, if you want to know more about becoming successful, please subscribe to my channel down below and hit the like button if you have not. And I will see you on the next video.